Demet was Kent's home for only a short time longer. On an early, brisk morning, the loneliness of his wayfarer lifestyle weighing on him more than usual, Kent sullenly meandered through a local spaceport. Temporary food stalls and traders' tents lined the strip near the landing docks, opposite the established Precardian restaurants and pubs who were in constant competition for the credits of the crowds. Locals and travelers alike gathered in droves around the traders and merchants, eager to get their hands on whatever strange and exciting foods and wares they had brought to the market. The smell of spiced meats and cooked vegetables filled the air, a melange of scents mingling and morphing into some new mouth-watering combination with every few steps Kent took. He recognized many foods he saw, but there were even more that he did not. Large flank or rib cuts of some unknown beast or another lay soaking in marinade trays, waiting to be thrown onto the simmering grills. There were exotic fruits with unpronounceable names displayed like trophies, drawing crowds of dozens who were eager to look upon and taste the strange specimens. Some merchants held glass jars filled with colorful spices or dried herbs, shaking them eagerly in front of the onlookers so the heady aroma wafted irresistibly through the air, drawing many into the spice traders' tents. Several chefs had set up makeshift kitchens in front of their ships, offering up small samples of grilled delicacies to passers-by before hounding them to purchase more of what they had tasted. Kent wished he could try one of everything he saw. It would surely have raised his spirits. But his credits were dwindling further by the day, and he could not afford to indulge in such luxuries. Around the docks at the north end of the strip, he heard chatter from the crew of a merchant ship called the Nostro. They talked excitedly about the exquisite cuisine they ate on board, and Kent could not help but be intrigued. He was captivated by the way the ship's crew spoke of their chef, offering glowing praise for both his culinary skill and his character. Kent made it a point to hang out by the north loading docks as often as he could, hoping for a chance to meet the chef himself. It wasn't long before that chance arrived. Within a few days, Kent saw a tall, portly, eldritch man lumber out of the loading bay of the Nostro. His skin was light blue and beige, with hazy accents of pink along his thick, tree-trunk arms and legs. The soft spines sticking out at the back of his head and neck were also pink. He donned a dirty apron and a necklace of dried spices swung from his neck. Kent scrambled up to him and breathlessly introduced himself. "Hello, sir. I'm so glad to finally meet you. I've heard about you and your fantastic cooking and about your—"
"Whoa, slow down there,"
the eldritch man said as he pressed a calloused hand on Kent's shoulder.
"The name's Dapmore. And who might you be?"
"Dapmore, yes. Oh, right, my name. I'm Kentucky. Well, people call me Kent, but my parents named me Kentucky because there is this place on Earth called that, and did I mention I'm human?"
"A human on Demet? That is peculiar. Well, now I understand why you're wearing that garb." He laughed. "I can see this is all very exciting for you, and if that's because of me for some reason, then I'm truly flattered. But, well, was there something I can do for you, Kent?"
Kent gathered himself and took a deep breath. "You see, sir, I was praying for the opportunity to meet someone like you, a chef of your caliber, someone with such a wealth of experience and skill. I can only imagine the kinds of food you've encountered on your travels, the recipes you must know." Kent's enthusiasm and innocence often caused him to overshare his passion with people. It turned out that this was especially true of fellow cooks. However, Datmore recognized the sincerity in Kent and wanted to hear what else he had to say.
"I think I understand," Datmore began. "But just to be clear, you are a cook, right? Not someone who's just really into eating? I need to know if I should be preparing a spot for you at the dining table or in front of the stove."
Kent looked dumbfounded for a moment as he realized in his excitement that he had not explained himself very well at all. "A cook," Kent said. "Yes, I'm a cook, and I'm a good one. I want to become a great chef one day, like you."
"Is that right?"
Dapmore said. He pulled an antique eldritch timepiece out of his pocket and considered the late hour.
"Listen, Kent, we're just now docking after a 5-day excursion. I have only this one evening to rest my space legs before heading out again."
Dapmore looked at Kent, who was staring up at him with big, baleful eyes, a slight quiver in his bottom lip.
"Oh, don't look at me like—"
Dapmore glanced over Kent's shoulder to his favorite local pub where the waitstaff were serving ice-cold pints of Solfay mead, a beverage unique to Demet.
Okay. Tell you what, meet me back here in an hour, and I'll give you a tour of the Nostro's kitchen. Get you away from all these prying eyes so you can take off that stuffy disguise. You've got to be sweltering in that.
Kent almost floated off the ground. Really? Oh, thank you! That was the beginning of Kent and Datmore's friendship. For the next several months, whenever the Nostro docked, Kent would pay Datmore a visit, seeking cooking advice from the Eldrick. The seasoned chef would invite Kent into his kitchen and challenge him to prepare a new, exotic recipe from some far-off corner of the universe. The Nostro's kitchen was as impressive as any Kent had seen in restaurants on Demet. Along the back wall were 2 full-size stoves with a dozen top burners between them and an oven big enough for Kent to crawl inside if he had a mind to. The walk-in pantry was stocked with more ingredients than Kent had ever seen in one place, and from nearly as many different worlds as there were shelves. A square panel in the floor opened up to reveal a set of stairs that led to a large cooling chamber that got colder the deeper in you walked, filled to bursting with meats, produce, and all sorts of ingredients for chilled desserts. The prep area held knives, beaters, whisks, rolling pins, spatulas, droppers, measuring cups, a long array of spice jars mounted right into the ceiling for easy access, and anything else a chef could possibly need, all within arm's reach. On one particular visit, Kent was feeling especially confident and was raring to get started.
Today you're going to prepare a very special entree, Dapmore said to Kent. One that originates from Ubesk.
Ubesk? Kent said. An Eldrick dish? Dapmore nodded. Let me guess, you want me to make Pinkem Kla? Dapmore raised his eyebrows and nodded again, impressed with Kent's familiarity with his native food. But could he prepare a plate of his homeworld's most popular dish as well as one of Ubesk's own could? Easy. I know all about Eldrick cuisine. Kent cracked his knuckles. Watch this. Kent got to work, smoothly gliding from measuring cups to whisks, cutting board to stovetop. He whistled a happy tune and shot confident looks at Dapmore as he completed each step. After nearly an hour of intense preparation and cooking, Kent was ready to add the most important ingredient, coriambe. Kent knew that to make good coriambe, he had to mix a variety of local Demed herbs in just the right combination and proportion. Luckily, Dapmore had everything he needed. He had practiced creating the uncommon seasoning many times back home and had perfected the recipe. With that, the dish was complete. He carried the painstakingly crafted, savory plate of Pinkem Kla over to the table where Dapmore had been sitting the whole time and placed it in front of him.
Finished?
He asked. Of course, Kent replied. Dapmore looked at the food, then over at his jars of spices, then back at the food.
The recipe calls for coriambe. Quite a lot of it. It doesn't look like you used any at all.
I used the precise amount the recipe instructed, Kent said insistently. Dapmore chuckled as he stood up from the table and walked past Kent toward the kitchen. He grabbed a small glass jar filled with dried purple leaves and held it out to Kent.
This, he said, is coriambe. So unless you have your own stash stuffed down your pants, I can see you didn't use any of it.